Nobles, you have just completed your rugged trek across the hot sands of the desert in search of the great Muslim capital Mecca, which unfolds in the wilderness between halfway between Yemen and Syria. This city in which you now stand is the holy city of Islam. It is so situated in the desert of Arabia that only by constant trials and tribulations, by passing through hazards, sandstorms, being beset by thieves, and experiencing other catastrophes, and surviving, were you able to walk therein. It is as if nature had cooperated with the Muslim faith in guarding the secrets of this hallowed spot from the unsanctified. In the heart of the city is the great mosque, Bait Allah, House of God, the altar, which is situated according to Arab tradition in the center of the earth and immediately beneath the throne of the Almighty. Upon the Bait Allah altar are a Bible and a Quran. The Quran is the unique history of our founder Muhammad. It is absolutely unique in its origin and in its preservation, upon the authenticity of which no one has ever been able to cast a serious doubt. The Quran is the actual text as dictated by Muhammad himself, day by day and month by month during his lifetime. It is the reflection of this mastermind, sometimes inartistic and self contradictory, more often inspiring and lyrical, and always filled with great ideas which stand out as a whole. The black stone is really a number of fragments, 12 to be exact, united by dark cement and held together by a silver band. The whole is oval and about 7 inches in diameter. What these stones or fragments are made of, no one has ever been able to exactly determine. The obstacle to so doing is that the vast majority of the men who go to Mecca view the black stone as a holy emblem and do not worry about its geological history. Those travelers who have examined the stone with curiosity as well as reverence differ in their opinions. Some say that it is a chip of rock from the Abu Qubais hills to the east of Mecca. Some say that it is of a meteorite, an object usually composed of iron, which has fallen upon the earth from outer space. Others insist it is of volcanic origin. None of this is any of really importance, in spite of all the controversies it has given rise to over the ages. Regardless of what it is made of, the stone has been there a long time. Maximus Tyreus, writing in the 2nd century after Christ, spoke of Arabians praying to a god which they worshipped as a rectangular building in which there is a black stone. Some of you may ask, why do we use the black stone and why is it so sacred to us? In ancient times, the sacred stone held a place of great honor. The black rock of Mecca is still an object of Mohammedan veneration. Stones have their own characteristics. If it was a big one, it impressed people by its massiveness. Perhaps it had some peculiar shape, looked like a man or a superman. If it was a little one, it could be carried in the pocket or set up on the tent. Little or big, it was solid, substantial, did not change like a brook or a stream, and man had not made it. It was part of creation because it came fresh from the hands of God. And because the black stone is a present from heaven, it is revered by Shrindom to this day. Christ said to Peter, "Upon this rock I build my church." This allegorical statement is similar to our symbolic masonry today. Christ was impressed by the sincere, loyal, and reverent way in which Peter had followed him, so he likened his faith to a rock which is able to withstand the storms of time. Let us, as true Arabs, stand firm in our convictions that coming generations will have faith in us and build their tomorrow upon our solid foundation of fraternal stability. Mecca, the city of Muhammad, is known as the capital of Shrindom. Muhammad chose this city as its capital because it was where the Banu Kanana had formed a settlement around the Kaaba, a sanctuary of some of the Confederate tribes belonging to the district. The feast, annually observed in the days before the full moon in the month Dhul-Hijjah at Mecca, presented strong attractions for all the inhabitants thereabout. And thus, Mecca grew into a great meeting place. The sanctuary and the feast of Mecca caused it to grow into a great meeting place. Mecca unfolds in the wilderness of the Arabian desert, halfway between Yemen and Syria, in a land wasted by winds and secular rains, a savage valley enclosed between two sharp and arid chains of rock mountains, making its position so secluded that not until the travelers are looking down into its streets do they know they have arrived at the holy city. Long before Muhammad, Mecca was considered a sacred city because of the holy sanctuary in its center. In the middle of the court stands the Kaaba. The Kaaba is a windowless, cube shaped, flat roof building made of gray stone 40 feet high. Enveloping it is a huge black brocade cover, like a tea cozy, on which verses from the Quran are embroidered in gold. Each year, the cover, which is called Keswa, is renewed. The Kaaba is the focal point of Islam, toward which Muslims all over the world turn 5 times a day in prayer. The Kaaba has been an object of worship since the dawn of history. Arab legend suggests that the first Kaaba dates back to Adam. This was destroyed in the deluge, and another was rebuilt by Abraham and Ishmael. After that, it fell into the hands of idolaters who made other additions until Muhammad came and restored its ancient dedication to one God. Several smaller buildings surround the Kaaba. The most important contains the well of Zemzem. This is where Hagar, when she was expelled from the tents of Abraham through the instigation of Sarah, decided to die. Wandering across the desert, she had reached the stony valley of Mecca. Her provisions had given out. Her gourd was empty. Frenziedly, she ran to and fro in search of water. Then, nearly dead from thirst, she threw herself on the parched earth and pushed her baby under a thorny acacia. "Let me not see the death of my child," she cried as she covered her head with her mantle. And then, before what seemed inevitable happened, an angel appeared and showed Hagar she was within walking distance of a well. This well is the Zemzem is the very same well, so called because of the bubbling sound it made when Hagar found it. If we're to believe the book of Genesis, it's one of the oldest existing wells of the world. As you journeyed from the mainland to the gates of Mecca, you were forced to cross the hot sands of the desert, which is emblematical of the rough road of life over which everyone must trod. Your way of life will not be smooth or clear always, but rather hard, rough, and rugged. The sandstorms of confusion will at times block your pathway. The hot sands and scorching sun will cause you to be weary and well-doing. Thus, we're taught that only those who have the indisputable and necessary appreciation for the tenets of the order, those persons who can practice the cardinal virtues of justice, prudence, morality, and secrecy, will be able to rest at the temple of Mecca and drink from the well of Zemzem. You must keep in mind that in its original concept, the great aim of Shrindom was living refinement, culture, education, and spiritual and moral integrity to those who cherished its principles and practiced its refined qualities. Thus, our whole ritualistic system is based upon these qualities, along with an unflinching faith in Allah. Eating supposed dung is emblematical of the distasteful things in life. There are many things in life we do not like, but if we're to succeed, we must take the bitter with the sweet. You came down the devil's path, and your mind reflected to certain Masonic degrees in which deposits were required. The remembrance of what you deposited is to teach you always to renounce the wiles and evils of this world and promise ever to worship at the shrine of Islam, where the air is fresh with the wisdom of Allah and refined by the deeds of the venerable patriarchs gone before. Another important lesson was taught you in the form of the cylinder that you were asked to enter. This has is important to you as a man and Mason and has its real application in life. You sought to go through the cylinder, but were forced to back down. This shows that you cannot always carry out your aims and purposes in life because situations sometimes arise, making it necessary for you to back down. But if you're a real man, you will never back down until every means at your disposal has been exhausted. Washing the buttocks represents man when he is unable to care for himself, old age. When you are young, you gird yourself and go when and where you please. But when Father Time takes his toll, you're helpless and must be cared for. Always remember the helpless and those in need. The greatest lesson given you today was that of the dog, which expressed humility and meekness. One may be up today with evidence of prosperity abounding, but tomorrow the picture can be changed. One can be so low in health or other misfortune that one cannot shield oneself from any means of humiliation. Thus, let us respect the feelings of others and practice humility and meekness. For he who humbles himself will be exalted. He who exalts himself will be abased. Today you met a man whom you thought to be a woman. This teaches you cannot always believe what you see. Deception is one of the greatest stumbling blocks of humanity. This was given to teach you the lesson. Never try to be something you're not. Those of you who've lived a loose, wild, and careless life, take heed to this lesson taught you today. You're required to give the sign of taking in the slack. And this alludes to a portion of your obligation and is all important for its application in life. Thus, we're taught to draw in the slack places of our lives, release the loose ends, and start anew as one who is now a member of the nobility in the courtyard of Allah. And now, as you go forth as nobles of the mystic shrine, carrying the color of red, which denotes denotes charity toward all mankind, more especially the household of the faithful, combined with green, which denotes everlasting life, something that's ever growing in wisdom, strength, and beauty. Be true to your trust, faithful to the cause, and active in the uplift of mankind. And may Allah delight to extend his blessings upon you and yours forevermore. Allah be praised. Thank you.